Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. You know that music. It means he's here. He's here in our studios. Taxman Bob Loeser, as we affectionately call him here, Taxman Bob. And I said, Bob, how are you doing? And he said, got those deadlines behind me. And he literally wiped a wad of sweat off his forehead. Very good to see you, sir.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, so a sigh of relief?
Yes. We've got, one more contributing deadline, May 15th, for both property renditions for the counties around the city of Houston, and the franchise reports that are due for most corporations and partnerships. So
when are those due?
The 15th, so 15th. Late next week.
Wow. Can you believe we're already in the second quarter?
I know. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know where we're going.
We're well in the second. What am I talking about? We're in the middle of the
second quarter. The next week is literally halfway through the second quarter.
It's incredible. My life is just a vapor. Dust in the wind. We need to add dust in the wind to our repertoire of songs. So, how was this? How was this April 15th compared to historically? You've been doing these for longer than you want to admit.
At least 3 or 4 years. Yes. Actually, combine those two together, 34 years. It actually went steady. People knew and understood when the deadline was. And it wasn't, for example, on April 15th, the combination was knowing that we were going to be out of there by 2 o'clock in that afternoon. So either pick up your return or we're filing an extension. I'm not waiting until, I used to wait until 9 o'clock for a certain number of my doctors to swing by after their rounds to pick up their return to take it home. And I learned a long time ago that if it's not that important to them, please tell me why it should be that important to me, unless I really need the money on that day.
Exactly.
All right. So, knowing that we've phased out people and telling them, if you don't get it to us by, let's say, the 3rd of April, your info, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get it done by the 15th for you.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So people came in with extension payments. I had a couple that literally owed 6 figures. And they said, do I need to pay? And I go, you don't need to, but that automatic extension fallacy is that you go for an automatic extension and you get it automatically because you're who you are. And if you either give them erroneous information on that extension or tell them that you owe $100,000 and you're going to pay $1,000, they could turn around and deny you that extension, which means from that day forward, you owe them 0.5% a month until you pay it. Plus interest, plus additional penalties.
Yeah, wow. So it's like, why wouldn't you pay it now? You had the ability to pay
correct.
it now.
Some people, it doesn't register. They've spent it. They've spent that $100,000. But even spending it, you'd hope to say you have at least 2025 available. Pay that now, and we'll pay the rest of it June 15th so that it doesn't accumulate interest and penalties.
Right. Absolutely. So, so overall, similar to what you've seen in the past? Or?
So it actually was calmer. For me, it was calmer because we prepared better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny because you said, the April 3rd, and you probably had some people going, oh, why so early? And it's like, you're not the only client. I love you, but you're not the only client.
Well, when you put it in a different perspective to them and say, well, when were you thinking about bringing it in? And they said, well, the 6th or 7th. I said, okay. I said, we'll add $1,000 to your bill, and I'll make sure it's done by the 15th. And they raised their eyebrows.
Yeah.
I'll go, well, what do I tell the other 22 people ahead of you that you're cutting in line? I said, unless I'm able to pay them $25 a piece, so to speak, as a discount because I can't get it quicker because you want to move ahead of the line.
Right.
Oh, just put me at 23. We'll get it taken care of. Okay. Yeah. Or show me the money.
Show me the money, and that's how the market works. Absolutely. So, what do you think about some of the things that are happening on the political front, on the macro front? You do a great job at looking at some of these stories and talking about those as well.
Well, it's just funny how certain stories are recycling. Benghazi and the IRS and Lerner and whatnot, and it's just like it's that deafening tone that you're getting sort of a backlash in the background when you walk into a room and you can't pinpoint where it's coming from. That's what, in my opinion, the political scene is like right now.
Yeah.
Benghazi, we talked about this 2 years ago. Why hasn't it been resolved? Lerner and the IRS, going after targeting, certain groups. Why are we talking about this now? All right. Let's move on, getting the economy rolling, getting unemployment down, and these misleading numbers that are recalculated 30 days after they're given out so that it shows that, we're really doing better than we were a month ago. No, you're not. You're just sugarcoating it.
Oh, yeah, and the reality is there's so many more people not working now than really since the 1970s.
Correct.
When you take people out of the game, the numbers are going to look better.
Right, but when you use the term "take out of the game," a lot of it is on their own demeanor. That I'm done, I'm out. So again, as you said, if the base decreases, then of course the unemployment is going to decrease.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
800,000 less less people on unemployment. But you don't tell us that 575 of them pulled themselves out of the employment market.
Exactly. And it wasn't because they won the lottery.
Right.
It's crazy. We live in a crazy world, and the media isn't honest about it. I don't think the media is at all honest about it.
We use the line from The Wizard of Oz all the time on the show, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, and that's exactly what goes on out there.
Yeah.
No. Don't look at that ball to the right, the shell to the right. Go to the left. That's the one that you want to look at right now.
Trey Gowdy, the congressman from South Carolina, who's kind of like a rock star right now among Republicans. This could be him being chosen as the chair of the Benghazi Investigation Committee. By the way, there's a story about this. It's featured over at USDataReview.com. This could be his shining moment, or it could be his demise, because honestly, if he's handled it like Darrell Issa, who used to be a rock star a few years ago and has done nothing, he's shown himself toothless. If he does that, none of us are going to be better off. What do you think about that?
Correct. Well, I mean, like anything, when you go into court in the U.S. justice system, it's not whether your client or the other side's client is guilty or innocent. It's who puts on the better show. And so, same thing with Gowdy now. If he puts on a good show, then he's going to get backing. And if he doesn't put on a good show and looks like Boehner tripping over his feet and his tongue and then crying about it, then you know where that's going.
So far, Gowdy's been kind of a rock star, and he's needed like so many others to put in articles of impeachment, but he wants to remain influential in the leadership.
Yeah, right.
And because he hasn't done those articles, he's in this position to really shake things up.
Right.
What he does with it will be interesting to watch. Finally, I'm sure you're watching the races here in the state of Texas. The one that's been catching my attention, of course, Lieutenant Governor race. Wow. I mean, it's incredible how much money Dewhurst is dumping on Dan Patrick, and apparently it's beginning to work, because Dan Patrick is now, for a long time we heard crickets from Patrick because of how big he won. He didn't win enough to win go without a runoff, but he did pretty serious. But now all of a sudden, I'm wondering what's happening with the numbers. Your thoughts?
Right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it, as you watch the commercials for it, is petty. Dan Patrick changed his name. Is that something new that happened 3 weeks ago? It happened, 15, 18 years ago?
No, I've known Dan for over 20 years, so it had to be before
that. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I mean, rock stars, actors, and actresses change their names. So should we go after them because they're hiding behind their real name?
No, we got bigger stuff to go after.
I'm sorry, Dan Patrick's real name is Harry Schmidlap. We can't spell that on the back of a jersey, so we're going to change it to Patrick.
I thought it interesting, though. His name was Danny Goeb, is what we're hearing, right? Danny Goeb. And so what's the old saying? Never trust anyone with two first names.
Right.
And he changes his name to Dan Patrick.
Right.
Who advised him to do that?
Right.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I think Dan Patrick wins in the end.
I think
you're
shocked right.
Otherwise. But it's interesting.
Well, I think Dewhurst is just, from the start, has been tripping over his own feet, and now all of a sudden he's going to sprint to the finish line.
Right. He's kind of been post-toast for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think Ted Cruz proved that. Well, listen, always good to see you.
Good to see you. I want to actually, one last note in regards to one old contributor of ours, George Conley. His wife passed away 2 weeks ago to cancer, so our thoughts and prayers are out with him. George is a phenomenal guy. His wife was a phenomenal person, and lost her too young.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Thank you for that shout-out. George is a great guy and has been a great friend to this show. And so my heart goes out and prayers go out to them, too. Thanks for that. And do you want to mention, of course, our good friend, Taxman Bob, as I call him here. You can find out more by emailing him at taxmanbob@pdq.net. That's taxmanbob@pdq.net. Your number?
713-953-1272.
One more time.
713-953-1272. Operators await your call.
Great segment as always. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Good seeing you.
When we come back, more for you right here on The Price of Business.
There's one for you, 9 routine for me.